for big contests in Michigan and South Carolina. Polls are a huge part of their strategy. But the polls didn't work out too well now, did they? What was the problem there? With me now in Washington, D.C. is Carrie Lukas from the Independent Women's Forum and Tanya Acker, a Democratic strategist in Los Angeles. Tanya, let's start with you. You know, the Hillary Clinton campaign was as bowled over by this as we were. Their own polling said Hillary Clinton was going to come in second here. Barack Obama's own polling said he was going to come in first here. All the network polling was consistent, though ours seemed to be a little bit closer than everybody else's for some reason. What do you make of this?
They were wrong.
Yeah, well, I know, but I mean, I'm curious if you think we ought to just stop using these things, because I don't know if it's the latecomers, if it's the youth, I don't know what it is.
At the end of the day, there are a couple of things that are particular about this race, at least on the Democratic side. One, we have two extremely strong candidates, and Democrats like them both. Now, admittedly, we're choosing sides, but we're excited about both of them. And two, let's not forget that this was still a very, very narrow margin of victory. After Iowa, folks thought, and I'd say the media thought that, or seemed to suggest that somehow Senator Obama was going to sail away with the nomination, and that was not the significance of Iowa. The significance of Iowa was that in a state that's less than 5% black, this candidate is eminently electable. We've got a long contest. It's going to be a hard-fought contest. Yeah. And, you know, I think these pollsters, maybe they should start looking for some other kinds of work.
Including the candidates' own pollsters, because they were saying the same thing. Now, Carrie Lukas, on the other side, there was this feeling, this indication in the last days that, in fact, Mitt Romney was making a surge, and then, in fact, he might actually come back and take the state. I just wonder if there's anybody out here who thinks we need to just leave these polls alone already, because I'm concerned that they might influence whether or not people vote in the last minutes.
Well, absolutely. If you think about what was going on in New Hampshire, there was all this talk about how Barack Obama was definitely, a lot of the media was practically declaring him the winner before New Hampshire had begun, and it may have convinced some of the independent voters who could either vote. Let's remember that in New Hampshire, these independent voters could either vote in the Democratic primary or the Republican primary. Many may have decided, gosh, I may as well go and cast my ballot in the Republican primary and vote for John McCain instead of voting for Barack Obama in the Democratic primary. So definitely media coverage can affect the outcome of these races. You know, it is interesting that the Republican polling actually was relatively accurate to the outcome in New Hampshire. So, you know, I don't think we should throw out the business altogether.
Well, the Republican polling was 4, 5, 6 points off. Our polling was 4, 5.